Hey everyone, and welcome back to another castle ruin walking tour. Today, we are so excited to be showing you around a strong and imposing castle ruin that was equipped with the most up-to-date defensive features that included drawbridges, arrow loops and concentric curtain walls. Join us as we explore the glorious Goodrich Castle. Goodrich Castle is a Norman medieval castle, north of the village of Goodrich, again here in Herefordshire, England. It controls a key location between Monmouth and Ross-on-Wye, and it's also been considered one of the best examples of English military architecture, and we can certainly see why. It's located on the spur of land overlooking the River Wye on the border with Wales. The castle is almost certainly named for Goodrich Mapperson, who is mentioned in the Domesday Book as owning land in the area. He constructed the castle in 1101, although nothing of what Goodrich built still stands today, but it is said that his name, Goodrich, was then simplified and known today as Goodrich Castle. Goodrich Castle is a Norman medieval castle ruin, north of the village of Goodrich. Again, here in Herefordshire, England. It controls a key location between Monmouth and Ross-on-Wye. It's been considered one of the best examples of English military architecture, and we can certainly see why. It's located on the spur of land overlooking the River Wye on the border with Wales. Throughout the 1100s, it was passed around through various generations, but a small stone keep was erected sometime in the 12th century. This was perhaps during the reign of Henry II. Henry's royal accounts do not actually tell us of any major expenses during that period. However, it is equally possible that the stone keep was built by Lord William Fitz Baderon of Monmouth during the Civil War. We know that Baderon sieged Goodrich during the anarchy, and that the defences were strengthened during his brief possession of the castle. But Gilbert de Clare was thrown into the ring too, after the castle was transferred to him after the war. The origins of Goodrich Castle were structurally simple in design, but that soon changed in 1204 after King John granted Goodrich to William Marshal, who was one of the most powerful knights of medieval England. A stone curtain wall was built to deter and to enclose the site, with mural towers added for additional defence. But the major work at Goodrich took place under a later Earl of Pembroke, with the name William de Valence. De Valence made quite the statement and rebuilt the earlier castle in the style of Edward I's concentric castles in North Wales, a style that is very rare in England. De Valence's new look of Goodrich was square in design, and it provided extra defences to the south and east with a rock-cut ditch. Large round towers at the three corners and a massive gatehouse at the fourth. The towers would rise above from wide spurs that created a cylinder shape with an enlarged base. This meant that a direct attack from ground level would have been near on impossible and countered any attempts to undermine the walls. think our personal favourite building was the castle's chapel. Its position was quite odd, just based inside the gatehouse, but it was stunning to walk inside and see the stained glass windows at both ends, with beautiful architecture all around the room. These windows have details etched and assembled with lead. This was a technique that was used by artists for the past 1,000 years. The oldest structure of the castle is the keep. It dates from around 1150, and if you look at the window at the very top of the keep, you'll see its design. Its design is a typical Norman architectural feature with zigzag design, and it's well worth looking out for. As we wander through, we can see the dungeons below. This is a dark and dingy prison with a vaulted roof. The hole for a drawbar was located just outside, so it could not be opened from the inside. Thieves and poachers were housed here whilst awaiting trial. It's not something you see every time you visit a castle, so this was great to see. Another fantastic part of visiting is being able to walk up the keep. A very dark and narrow staircase leads you to the top, but it does give you the best viewpoints of the castle and the surrounds in the background. Honestly, it's worth the steep climb for panoramic views of the Wye Valley alone. Other rooms include the kitchen. This was one of the rooms that didn't survive that well, but this kitchen block would have had to serve the entire household, which could include up to 200 people. It was positioned to serve the Great Hall just beside it. At either ends of the fireplaces, they have the remains of the bread ovens that were built in the 13th century. Inside of the curtain wall were ranges of domestic buildings, which included a beautiful Great Hall. This hall is incredible to see, and also the size of it. It would have been very important back in daily life. Grand ceremonies took place here and significant guests were entertained. You are still able to see the very large fireplace that's outlined on the walls, and at the far end you can see the two doors that would have led to the buttery and pantry on the tower's ground floor. As we wander around the site, you'll see what's known as the solar block. These were mainly living quarters, and amongst the most elaborate and sophisticated living quarters in all of England. You can see it by its two large archways. Behind them stood the Lady Tower, but unfortunately hardly anything remains today. The solar block was built so that members of the family could live here in seclusion, and the ground floor of here would have been a storage space, and the room that was at our level was used to be a great chamber. This room was used for the family to sit and admire its views. Things to note and look out for are the small holes in the stonework. Particularly in the solar block they had a wash basin, and the De Valences equipped the castle in everything they possibly could to re-establish their status as important noblemen. Just outside of the solar block we have the Roaring Meg, a large artillery piece. It explains why Goodrich is now a ruin today. And in 1642 the Civil War broke out, and afterwards Goodrich became a stronghold to the Royalists. At first the garrison was strong, but by 1646 a huge siege hit and left the castle in ruins. In our personal opinion, coming to Goodrich Castle is a castle ruin not to be missed. It really is one of the best examples in England of a medieval castle. It isn't a huge ruin, but it is steeped in history and enormously interesting, so why wouldn't you want to spend your day here? It's run by the English Heritage and open all year round with a few exceptions. The prices for visiting here are exceptionally good when you consider what you are getting from it. so it is actually one of our top castle ruins to visit, and we really hope that you've enjoyed watching and walking around with us today. And as always, if you like what you've seen, please be sure to hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so that you know when our next video is out. Till next time.